Hey everyone, it's Christina from the Glaser Tutoring Company, and today we got a good one because today we're going to be solving the system of equations by addition. And then they give us two beautiful equations here. Now, anytime that we have a system of equations, right, we just have to have two or more equations that might be related to each other, right? Depends on, if they're crossing paths, if they don't cross paths, if they're secretly just one line. But here, since they gave me two, to me, it looks unique, right? Two equations. These is part of the system. So this is the system. Now, in this case, we have to solve, right? We got to solve this system. Well, what does that mean? Well, for both of these equations, I have just an x value and just a y value, right? I don't have like x squared or y squared. So I know that these two guys are linear lines. And let's just say that this, the top guy looks like this. I don't know if it's a positive slope or negative slope, but let's just say that one goes this way and the other one goes this way. By solving, you're finding the point in which these two lines interact. So x marks a spot. This is what you're solving for. You're solving for a point that they have in common, right? Because all these other points, they don't have in common. It's this one point. That's the solution. So, in essence, what we're really doing is we're just trying to solve for the x and the y coordinate, for which they both have in common. Now, we have to do this via addition. Now, there's two methods, right? There's substitution or there's addition. Sometimes this is called elimination. But for addition, right, it seems like we're going to, at some point, add the formulas together. But we can only do that if we can get rid of one of the variables. Right, in algebra, we don't solve for x and y at the same time. You got to only solve for x equals or y equals. So before we add the two equations together, we have to get rid of a variable. And how do we do that? Well, we have to make one variable maybe a positive, so positive x, and if we're going to try to get rid of the x's, the other x value in the other equation, it's got to be a negative. Or, if you're going for the y's, it's got to be a positive y or a negative y. Why did I put a negative 2? Sometimes I question myself. Because if you have like a 2x and then a negative 2x and you add them together, what's going to happen to the x's? They cancel. So that's the idea here. So let's see. For the x values, I have a negative 2 and a 7. And for the y values, I got a 5 and a 2. Now, a little tip is if you can only manipulate one equation, go for it. But for both of these, I can't turn like a 2 into a 7. I can't really turn a 7 into a 2. And the same thing with these. I got a 5 and a 2, right? So the next thing I would say is just make it easy for yourself, right? If you see one that already has a positive and a negative in it, just try to manipulate that one. In this one, we have a negative 2 and a positive 7. So it seems like I could work off of this. Now, what is 7 and 2's next number up, right, by multiplication? 14. So one of them has to be a positive 14. The other one's got to be a negative 14. Because when we add these two together, what's going to happen to the x's? They're going to cancel. So that's the idea here. So let's see. Negative 2 times what? I could turn, times this by 7. And I'll times the bottom one by 2. But remember, whatever you're timesing it by, 7 and 2, you gotta be fair. This, you gotta go to everybody. And the same thing with the 2. So now we're going to have new equations for equation 1 and 2. So for equation 1, let's see what we got. Equation 1 is 7 times a negative 2 is the negative 14x. 7 times 5 is 35. So we got that. And then 7 times negative 42. Ooh, okay. Bringing out the old school math, right? So negative 42 times 7, let's see. 7 times 2 is 14. 29. So negative 294. Or, you could just plug it into Calci. Now let's do equation 2. So what do we get? We got 2 times 7. This is the positive 14. Keep going with it. 2 times 2 is 4. So plus 4x equals 2 times 30 is 6. Well, 2 times 30 is 60. Now, since we have a negative 14 and a positive 14, we're going to add these equations up. That's the addition. And when you do that, goodbye 14s. They get canceled out. And why did I did anybody notice that I kept putting x's? Were you screaming at me? Because I heard you. These have to be y's, right? I have no idea how they turned into x's, but we will keep going. 35 plus 4 is 39y equals negative 294 plus 60. So that would be a negative, what do we got? Negative 234. And then last thing we got to do is just divide by 39. Divide by 39 on both sides. And y equals a negative 6. Okay, one piece of the puzzle already down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this over to the side. We did the addition part already. We know now the y value is going to be a negative 6. Now we just need to find that x value. But how do we do that? Go back to the original equations. It does not matter which equation you choose. Just pick the one that's easiest for you. Maybe, I don't know, I don't want to really work with a negative 42. I guess maybe I'll work with a 30. So let's go with equation 2. So we'll say equation 2 was 7x plus 2y equals 30. Now you're going to take that y value and just plug in what you solve for, the negative 6. So we got 7x plus 2 times the negative 6, which will equal us the 30. And then let's see what we get. 7x, this is going to be minus 12 equals 30. So plus 12 on both sides, plus 12. A little bit of algebra. Never hurt anybody. 7x equals, this gets bye-bye. What do we get? 42. That's a beautiful number right there. Divide by 7 on both sides. 42 divided by 7. That's a big 6 to me. So x equals 6. And now we have that one specific point that they have in common. So let's just write it out here. So I think we got room over here. What's that one specific point? X marks the spot. 6, comma, negative 6. And there you go. Oh, yeah. So that's the solution. What'd you think? Thank you so much for viewing the video. I really hope you're doing well out there. Thank you so much for coming here for your math needs. If you want to look up the substitution way of doing it, we have tons of videos on that as well. We also have physics and chem videos on the channel. If you guys are in that class or you have friends or classmates that are in that class, we might be able to help you out there as well. Also, I would like to give a huge shout out to Maricela. Thank you so much for being a member to the channel. Your support means a lot to my brother and me, and we're thrilled to have you be a part of this amazing community. Memberships are open on the channel, and if you want to become a member, just click that join button, which can be found below on any video if you're watching on your desktop, or it can be found on the overall channel page too. For all of you that want your name shown in the video, don't forget to choose the gold tier or higher. Thank you so much for considering, and have a great day. Talk to you in the next lesson. Bye-bye!